Hey there, YouTube. woodlandDOX back after months, I guess. I don't know. But I was cooking, you guys. Welcome back. I was cooking, and we're gonna see what I was cooking. So in English side of the game, we just got set 10. We got our Dragon Masquerade going on, we got all our mask units. Um we got some cool stuff, right? I was not satisfied. So all I really did for myself traditionally in the set was I grabbed the new prison cards and threw them in there. That's the first time I've changed my prison lineup since, I don't know, set 5, 4, probably 4 with Pure Light. Who knows? Well, no. Besides the point, another day. I love Brand Gate, right? You got all of them built except for Orpheus. The Orpheus just isn't my thing. So, I was thinking, what are these maids supposed to do? Right? There's no boss unit. There's no, like, head of housekeeping Jennifer. That's not a card. Bushy, don't steal my ideas. But there's no head of housekeeping Jennifer. So what are you supposed to do with these maids? I'm going to show you what to do with the maids. So let's take a look at our ride line. So there is no Vanguard skill for any of the maids. There's no, real ride line that you're stuck to. So I decided to poke around and see what would be best. I'm like, okay. Eva, no, it searches research cards. The maid order, the clean sweep is not it's not a research card. And I'm like, but I need to thin the deck. So I'm like, maybe I could do the Eva red line. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, Archite's pretty cool, right? So let's start off. We have our grade 0 Archite, standard skill. We all know it from a few sets ago. Draw a card, you go second. If not, tough luck. So then the reasoning behind the Archite ride line was similar to why I started thinking Eva. Kind of thought prison maybe, just to get one annoying card. I don't know. But then what I thought was the prison ride line wouldn't be effective because you can only mill one out of your deck. So then I went with the full Archite 0, 1, 2. So that we go ahead and we get our research cards out. We'll thin the deck by 2. But there's another reason why I picked the Archite ride line besides my complete and utter insanity. Our grade 3. This is probably the only time you'll ever see someone use this as a grade 3. And if so, I am proud to be the one who did it. So, our grade 3 in our ride line, and we're going to have a contest to see who can pronounce this properly, because I sure can't. Our grade 3 is the electromagnetic monster, El Ejerciado. That guy. You know him, right? From set 4? You all remember him. Yeah. So, electromagnetic keyword monster. The one word in there that I can pronounce. Monster. So, that's our keyword right there. So, I'm like, wait a minute. There's some synergy here. So, let's keep moving on to the grade 1s. So, we know we have our Archite grade line, ride line, whatever you want. They should have called it grade line. Because it's 0. Oh, I need to be hired as creative director over Bushy. But anyways, call it a grade line. That's better. Anyways, we do run 2 copies of our research card intended for Archite. But again, the grade 3, the keyword, the one that I can pronounce, monster. When placed, search the top 5 for a card with monster in its name. This is a Persona Ride Searcher on accident. Complete and utter accident. And it's a Persona Ride Searcher. Come on, you can't, there's no more happy coincidence than that. So, thins the deck by 2 cards. If you happen to hit one of your Persona Ride copies with the top 5 search, all the better. Thins the deck 1 more, get you Persona Ride. One thing that I'll go into a little bit later, I noticed I kind of get stuck on discard. So, sometimes if you draw into this, if you're really unlucky and you draw into this in turns 1 or 2, or you damage check it, not the end of the world. It sucks a little bit. I mean, the deck does not get thinned as much. That's pretty much the big downside to it. But, even if you get stuck and you discard fodder, you'll see the way that I designed this deck. Persona Ride does not make or break your numbers. So, we'll get into that in a minute. Next up in the grade 1 line, we do have our 4 copies of Dispatch, 3 Sisters of Cleaning. So, I only have the 1 framework copy. I'm probably going to get 4 if it's cheap. I'm pretty sure it's going to be cheap. It's an R. But we have our 4 copies here. Skill, Order Zone, 2K, front row. Simple, easy, clean. Do you get it? Simple, easy, clean. All right. If you don't get that, I'll wait. So anyways, yeah, nice, simple, easy, clean effect is the word. Now we're going to go into some more of the obvious choices. So, if you're going to try to build the deck around the maids, go for the obvious choice with the 4 orders there. Now, the supporting maids, however, I did a little bit differently. I did not go 4-4-4. You might think, okay, 4-4-4, counterblast search, counterblast search, counterblast search. There's no real resource issue with this deck. I'll kind of recap that at the end. There's no super resource issue with this, but what I did notice is with your searches on maid to maid to maid, if you don't find the order card, and if you don't find the right other maid, it's worthless. Like, there's been times where I've A, whiffed, B, I've already had enough orders because it was, turn 4 or whatever. Well, probably turn 5. I've already had enough orders, or I found all my pieces, and it's kind of like, I don't need to keep searching. Not everything is a search. So we only run 2 of Putzenschwestern. That's how we're pronouncing it. Mopey, or Moppy, because she cleans. I'm calling her Moppy. There's not 2 P's, but I'm calling her Moppy, and you can't stop me. So anyways, again, it is a searcher counterblast 1. Search for your maid order, or you can go ahead and search for the other supporting Putzenschwestern card, which is the one that I do run 4 of. I run 4 of Brush. So Brush will then lead you, again, to search for the order card. Now, if you do not need the order card, but you do need Weeple, which is next, okay, cool. That's why I run her at 4. The other maid is only going to search, Moppy's only going to search for Brush, then Brush would have to search for Weeple. And I'm like, that's kind of redundant, and that's really risking a lot. There's no room for countercharge. There's no room for Boble in here. Boble would be cool, but and then what was that card that we slipped into Archetype because it had monster in its name that wouldn't boost countercharge? So there's no room for the counterchargers. So I try to eliminate the need for the counterchargers. You're gonna find, you're gonna find the cards you need usually through draw or through searches from her or from other cards we'll get to later. So not a real need for finding Brush. She's there. She's at 4. So, but again, we do have, I guess, the equivalent of the head of housekeeping. We have the head of housekeeping, Putzenschwestern Weeple. Now, Weeple is fun. I really do enjoy playing with Weeple. So, the effects being based on how many order cards you have, the Dispatch 3 Sisters, I love it. It's really cool because all you need is 2. So if there were a way to just search a set order on the red line, maybe unless I'm not thinking of something, to throw it in the red line, that's really cool. But I don't think there's anything that I'm missing. So basically, as long as you have 2, she's immune. I mean, there's cards that don't target, but she becomes immune. So full skill is 1, Dispatch the 3 Sisters. She gets 5k. 2, she is immune to any targeting. And then 3, the entire back row gets 5k, which means she gets 10k. So she's going to be an 18,000 booster. Now, that might not seem broken, but when you get the extra 2k, so for that effect to happen, that's 3 of the order cards. So that's 6k to the front row. She's at 18, that's 24. Plus the strength of our Vanguard, which we'll revisit here in a second. But the strength of our Vanguard being 15k, I mean, that's a 39k lane. It's a 39k Vanguard lane. So you don't even have to worry about putting the power from your triggers there. Just put a crit there. So the whole goal of this deck is to be annoying with numbers, and it really works. So that is almost it for our grade 1s. You thought we were done. You thought the maids were it. Now, this deck is also created by me, who runs 0 grade 1s in prison. Until now, I do run the new grade 1 chick, but I'm the one who rocked out with no grade 1s in my deck, aside from freaking Perfect Guards and the jail itself and my ride line card, my Kyanite Blue. But now this is the deck with nothing but grade 1s. We have my favorite generic card for Brentgate. Absolute favorite card. that's come out. It works in everything but prison. Lady Fencer of Quantum Regression. Skill, if there are 2 set orders, she gets 5k, active on opponent's turn as well. So she is 13k. Early game, if you need someone out there to attack, let's just say, oh, I don't know, your ride line gave you 2 set orders. Even if you don't find the main orders, she's a 13k swinger on her first, or not on her first turn, but from your second turn. She's the 13k swinger. Then you throw on any maid effects. She goes 15, 17, 19, 21. That's increments of 2,000. Pull out your calculators. I promise you, that's right. You put her in the back row, 13k plus 5k from a full Weeple, a 3-ordered Weeple. That is an 18k booster. These numbers are getting so annoying because even if she was just attacking the Vanguard on her own, that's at least a trigger guard. You put an 18k behind something else, it gets even worse. And I mean, heck, you put the 21,000 up there, or yeah, you have all 4 orders. She's 21,000 on her own. That's going to require a trigger to guard. This is so funny to watch people try to guard. So that is it though for the grade 1 ride line or unit lineup. Except for we do run 4 perfect guards. I thought about maybe using the trial deck, the Seraph Snow trial deck, because it has monster in its name. So you could also search that off of the order card. That'd be pretty cool. I didn't feel like ordering another Seraph Snow trial deck just for this meme of a deck. Plus, top 5, it's only twice. I'd rather have, let myself get down to less than 2 and have a special effect rather than always have to discard something. So, of course, throw an Elemental Sanctaria, or whatever, Elementaria Sanctitude, whatever that perfect guard called that came in the trial decks, throw that in there. Get a little bit more competitive. Congratulations to you. So, the grade 2 lineup. It's right here. Here's the grade 2 units. Right here. They're nowhere. We have absolutely no grade 2s, guys. No grade 2s. Why did I look that way? Because my neighbor hit my house, I think. But we're not cutting that out because I am lazy. So we're going to move straight on to our grade 3s. So we do have our other copies of Electromagnetic Monster Alejandro. That's just going to be his name because I can't say that. So his skill. This unit cannot attack if there are no set orders. What is this entire deck based on? I can search out 2 set orders from the ride line, and all the maid orders are set orders. So this thing is just, it's skillless, basically. There's no way I'm not going to have a set order. So it's a lovely, lovely thing. Because 15k, if you are going first, you're 15, your opponent's Vanguard is 10. If they drop down a trigger, that's still just 1 to pass. You don't need to hit both. They need to spend, unless it's a special front trigger, of course, they need to spend 2 cards to guard from the start. If you have a Lady Fencer Quantum Regression behind any of your Vanguards, and you have 2 set orders, your opponent's going to have to spend extra cards. These numbers are just annoying. 13, 23. So if I go second, if I have a 13k in the back row, and if I have no maid orders, just say I have no maid orders, and my Vanguard is grade 2 is still only 10, that's 23 right there. They're going to have to use a trigger to make it 1 to pass. It's really fun to get the guard out of your opponent's hand early. We do have 1 other grade 3 though. So that is for our Persona ride. That is for search via our research order. We have 1 more grade 3 before we hit the triggers. And that is my friend, a Bench Robust. Now, I sold my copies out of my archetype deck because I didn't have any extra on hand. I did try Solid Sterner, whatever his name is, from set 10. I whiffed a lot. I may, in the future, consider going to putting him in here, cutting down Brush to 3, and maybe cutting the other maid entirely. I'm not sure. To run 3 copies of him so I can search on grade 2 as opposed to waiting to grade 3. But it is a top 5 search if you're lucky. Now, our Bent Robust here, Counterblast 1, guarantee you'll get it. And he gets 10k. So he's not going anywhere, but he gets 10k if you have 2 orders of the same name. So, haha, your research cards, which are over to the side, I don't know why I touch them. Or you can have 2 of your maid cards. And by this point, you should have at least 2 of your maid cards. 1 through natural causes, the other through his search. I think it's absolutely wonderful that this thing is going to be 23K at a minimum. Then you get your made orders. Then you got whatever's behind him. So again, regression 13K plus this 23, that's 36. That's more than a special front your opponent has to guard with. And this is a rear guard attack. And they already, just from the start, have to spend more than the special front even. They have to guard with at least 2 cards. It's absolutely insane, barring any triggers, but it's absolutely insane what these weird numbers get you. And, it's fun to, hit the magic numbers, just get 1K, 2K over and just troll basically. But speaking of trolls, I have next up our trigger lineup. So I would suggest replacing these next cards with the special fronts, but I didn't have enough copies of Impero, so I didn't want to go digging through all my other decks to find where they are. So special front, of course, would be better, extra 5K shield, but I do run 3 fronts. Draws are an option, but with this deck not having any absolute firepower, should I say, like it just has numbers and it gets annoying, with having no like knockout punch guaranteed, I'd rather go with fronts over the draws just in case I need to last another turn. Plus, with our Vanguard being a base 15K, it helps a lot in guarding. And I'm talking a lot in guarding. So at first I thought I could sacrifice a little bit by putting in the Ameliorate connector, having 10K instead of 15 and or 20. But definitely recommend that you put the special fronts, the Imperos in here. To top off this quadruplet, I have the Elemental, Gray Elemental, generic Overtrigger in here. So Alberia's in here. In my testing so far, it has paid off. Swing with the Vanguard first in this deck. It feels like it can really pop off when you hit it, because then you have your 2 sides. Obviously, the Brant Gate Overtrigger would not be bad either, because the whole goal in this deck is to hit big numbers to start. So doubling the 100 million really doesn't matter, and it would double the crit. So I would prefer it over it. But again, I'm a fiend, and I've used all my good triggers in other Brant Gate decks, and I don't feel like separating them. Next, we do have 4 heal triggers, because they won't let me put any more in there. They say I'm a cheater. We do have 2 standard heals, and then we also have our grade down heals, is what I call them. So our grade down heals, if you are grade less than your opponent's Vanguard, then you get an extra 10K shield. Our meta being a lot of Jet, Messiah, soon to be other deck sets that were just announced. Having the grade 4 Stride, or even, Pure Light's going to make a renaissance with the new promo card coming out. Plus, they just got their new cards, the grade 3 and grade 1, that even got me to change my deck list with how stubborn I am. Having these in there. Does anybody play grade 4 Bruce anymore besides my wife? I'm not sure. But any grade 4 deck, obviously, since this is only a grade 3 deck, it'll help. All the Stride deck sets definitely helps. If you go first, it's a little dead until then, so I only run 2 instead of full 4. And then for the remainder of the triggers, we have 8 critical triggers. I do not have the need for the effect triggers in this for crits, specifically because, did you hear me mention the word Soul Blast or the words Soul Blast once? I don't think you did. If you did, rewatch the video, give me another view, thanks algorithm, and tell me if you heard Soul Blast before that part right there, because I bet you didn't. So there's no need to generate soul, no need for me to waste money on the effect crits. The 2K, the made orders make up for the more than make up for that. So we have our trigger lineup set at 8 standard crits, saves you money. But yeah, so that's how this deck rolls. It's very, very annoying. So now what I like to do is a little something I've seen done elsewhere in deck profiles. For example, Meloetta Matt has shown like an optimal setup. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna cut here. We're gonna go to an optimal setup, and I'll meet you back on that side. Hey, you're still here. Cool. So, welcome back from the first half of the video. So what we have here is a very truncated playing field. What we have here is what I believe to be the ideal setup. So let's say we are on turn 5. We're a few damage into the game. We have 4 damage over here. We have 3 made orders. We have 2 research orders. So 4 would obviously be optimal, but let's be real, someone's gonna end up in damage, or you're gonna have to have a tough discard at some point. You have 3 cards in your hand and need a perfect guard. The jewel that already has you down to 2 crit, or has himself up to 2 crit. So you're gonna find that you're not gonna get all 4 unless you're really really lucky, or go first actually. So we have our order zone. It is filled up with the 3 made cards, 2 research cards, damage there for show. But this is what is optimal. So let's walk through some numbers.
You're an accountant, we get it.
So we have our Vanguard here starting off at 15k, 3 made orders puts him to 21,000. Our 21,000 Vanguard is boosted by a 18,000 rear guard due to her skill of giving herself 5 for 1 made order and another 5 for the back row when there's 3. So this is 18 plus 21. This is a 39,000 Vanguard swing. And that's before any triggers. That's just simply effects. So let's think 39,000. This is the first swing of your turn. They're at 13,000. So this is already 26,000, aka 2 triggers. 2 triggers just to make it 1 to pass. You are yanking so much shield out of your opponent's hands that when these sides swing, it's going to be trouble for them. So again, a little bit of motivation to run 8 crits to throw in the Brant over trigger as opposed to Olberia. I kind of liked giving 2 cards 100 million. Thought it was fun and cheeky just because this deck is fun and cheeky. But you're hitting 39,000. So even if you don't hit any triggers, let's say you hit no triggers. I mean, heck, let's say you hit front triggers. You hit front triggers, you're set. Your power is just unmatched.
The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist.
Even if they do damage check a trigger of their own. So let's say you hit no triggers. What are you looking at here? Let's see here. Regression in the back. She's 13k. She's 13. He's 13 by himself. He has 6 from the maids. That's 19. Plus his effect when he swings, name 2 cards. They're right there. So what is that? 10 plus 6 is 16. This is 29. She is 13. That's 42,000. Again, that's 2. If you hit no triggers, that's a 2 trigger guard. This, I mean, the other side, this is the highest number that I can make from this deck is 42 without any triggers. If you have another maid in there, 44. And that's even worse because if you have that, that's 3 trigger guard, or 3 card guard. Doesn't have to be 3 triggers, but that's 3 card guard. So you have to sit here and think, if you're at this point in the game, your opponent has either taken some damage or they can't afford to take much more and they don't have that much to discard with. You get them to 4, especially when they're at 4, you know they're going to have to throw it all at the Vanguard for risk of crit. That's why you attack with the Vanguard first. They block it, you throw the crit elsewhere, and then you're at 52. You're at 54. Depending on, well, heck, 64, right?
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
So these numbers are absolutely ridiculous. So this is an ideal setup. I've seen other creators do this. So I figured it'd be cool to do it for my own weird creation. So that's essentially what you want your field to look like. You want 3 main orders at least. Your research orders are there. That's why I put them off the side, because they're not mandatory. They're just usually there to help thin the deck, especially finding Persona Ride copies. And that's something I didn't even mention. Persona Ride. Dude, if you Persona Ride, 52, 52, 49. That's insane. For no triggers, just a simple setup. You can find your orders with Robust in worst case scenario. Again, Solid Stürmer might not be bad. Texian, the Penguin, I'm not sure if there's no space for him, honestly. And again, this is a top 5 searcher, but I would rather have Solid Stürmer because he gets extra power. So I think that it's just incredibly annoying numbers. There is no knockout punch. Our Vanguard does not have a skill. He has a skill. It's not a beneficial skill. Our Vanguard has a detrimental skill. But you'll see with that 15k, when you're guarding and you're out there with, normally, you're 13 on 13, and you put down a 15k to get the 28, right? You're making it 2 to pass. Here with this, it's still 2 to pass. But if they've even hit a trigger, it gets more friendly to guard with. You don't have to keep spending triggers. You got that extra 2k on there, and that helps so much. In some of the training games that I've done so far, there have been at least 5 occasions where I have been, down to a couple cards, and they got themselves to 40, or it would be 43 would be even, if I spent 2 triggers to guard with a normal Vanguard. They're swinging at me with 43. I drop down 2 triggers, I'm at 45. So I protect, it just comes in so handy. That extra 2k, I can't tell you how invaluable it is. But speaking of invaluable, so is your time. I appreciate you guys for being here. Another periodic deck profile from me. So hopefully people like this. Jeepers Sweepers is what we're calling it. You got monsters, you got maids.
Boo!
Give me a worse pun and I'll call the deck that, but I feel like that's pretty appropriate. Anyways, thank you guys. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Twitter, same handle here. Twitch, same handle here. So I'm a lot more active on Twitch. So I will see you guys there. And see you in the next one.